Beloved, welcome back to the homestead. This is a frost-free yard hydrant and it's leaking. Now, I've installed a dozen or so of these, but I've never actually had to figure out how to repair or rebuild one. So we're gonna do that together. I do have, thanks to Manservant, ordered up a rebuild kit and I've got a pipe bridge. Let's tear this apart and see if we can figure out how to make this thing stop leaking. This hydrant is built by Merrill, and apparently, according to the listing, everything that we need to repair it is going to be in here. We've got rubbers, O-rings, looks like new packing bushings, and this, I'm guessing, is the plunger. Before we tear into that hydrant, we want to kill the power to that well pump, and we'll drain out all the pressure so we don't take a bath. We'll drain out the system. While that system was draining out, I went in and watched a couple of YouTube videos on how to do this. And there's an easy fix and a more difficult fix. The easy fix is to adjust the packing, but the leak was pretty bad as you saw at the beginning of the video. So we'll start with the easy fix first. If that doesn't do it, if we're out of adjustment, then we'll pull everything apart, pull the plunger out, and replace the rubber stopper in the bottom. But I think it makes sense to go with the adjustment first and see if that doesn't get it sorted. From the look of it, we're going to need some box end wrenches, and when you don't know what you're going to need, the one tool, Knipex Cobra pliers. And I think you could pretty much rebuild the world with these. Linkages. Some clever man came up with this. A way to have water on demand that never freezes in any climate. Pretty amazing. Apparently there are two different leaks you can have on these. If it's leaking out of the hose bib itself, then it's the problem is underneath there's a plunger way down under the ground. If it's leaking right here from the packing, it's a different fix, and that's right here. You can adjust this down and tighten that. Our leak is obviously not at the packing, it's here at the bib. So we need to raise this whole assembly up so that we can put a little bit more pressure on that plunger down there. A little bit of penetrating oil never does any harm. We don't have a whole lot of adjustment left there. Well, I'm out of thread, that's all I got right there, so we're gonna call that good enough. And now make this one match. And so that's going to put a couple more threads. It's going to lengthen this rod essentially so that when we close the handle, it puts more pressure and pushes against that seal down there. Now that should put a little bit more pressure on that bottom. I'm skeptical this is going to work. What do you say? 50-50 that'll work? Now we wait. That should take a minute or so to come up to pressure. If this doesn't start dripping in our brief conversation here, then we know that that did the job. If not, then we'll pull this whole assembly off. How these work is that the water line is put in below the frost line. Now that could vary depending on where you live. In Alaska, I've heard they have to bury water lines deep, like 6, 7, 8 feet deep. Here, the frost layer is about, it never gets more than about 16, 24 inches. So usually I put water lines in at 24 inches. That keeps them well below the freezing. Problem is, in the wintertime, let's say it's 0 outside, if you have any standpipes that have water in them, they'll freeze and then split and destroy all of your hydrants. So how these work is the valve that turns these off and on is buried below the frost line. And when you lift that lever, it opens a valve under the ground and runs the water up and makes this standpipe, which is kept dry, it makes it wet, and that gives you the water. Now when you shut this off, down under the ground is what they call a weep hole. So when that valve is shut, this is still pressurized, but over a few minutes, that water slowly runs down and drains out of that weep hole. That's why it's important when you install these things. That didn't do it. The guy on YouTube, which works for the company, Merrill, said to take some tape and to mark the position of the head casting before we pull the head casting all the way off. I'm not sure exactly why. I guess we want to thread it. I guess it would keep the measurement of the rod. We want to thread it right back to where it was. You know this thing's going to be tight. It's kind of an interesting difference. This is an American plumbing pipe wrench. We've all seen this. And this is Knipex, or German. This is more of a European style. See how the way it slides? I have two of these. I actually prefer these for lighter duty work. I think that they're just handier. I don't know. They have I don't know if they have more adjustment in them, but completely different philosophy. All right. So if we hold this with these pipe wrenches, you have to adjust them so you can get the handle. Make sure you get a good bite on them. Yeah, we knew that was going to happen, huh? This is my cheater bar that I made 25 years ago that so far to date is completely undefeated. Nothing have I ever not been able to get loose. I made it from an old damaged Jeep TJ drive shaft. And this is the thing here. If I could get this to bite and use the building to keep it from spinning, that would really give me some. Be careful, and not get too much twist on that. There we go. I will break the still undefeated. All right, yeah, it looks a little chewed up. Let's take this inside, put it in the vise, and swap out the parts. This is that rubber stopper that goes down and seats and seals the water. And you can see it's pretty well chewed up. It's all chewed up. The new one, hopefully I got the right parts, looks like it, is, yeah, much better, much longer. We might even have to readjust it, change that setting that we did before, because we've got so much more material here. Let's see if we can back that guy off there. We'll go all German here. German theme here. Knipex for the win. Guys were asking me, every morning I do a members only live stream. You should join the warband. We meet at 9:30, and the discussion came up, which is better, Snap-on or Knipex? And I told the guys, well, I have both. And what I typically grab is Snap-on because I just like it. It gives me the fizz. But when I have something that's really nasty, or I've got one chance at it, or I just can't afford to round the bolt, I grab these, to be honest. This is all brass. You're supposed to put some sort of like a non-petroleum lubricant or silicone on here. I'm not going to do that because I don't have any and I don't want to go to the hardware store. And I drink from this. I fill my canteen from it multiple times a day and I don't want to have that in my water. So we're just going to put it back the way it is. And hope will be our plan. But before that, let's flush out that tube, make sure there's no goobers or anything in there that's going to cause this to leak or get torn up. Pump is on. If this thing doesn't start dripping here in the next few seconds, then I think we are successful. Good news, we promised the Sweet Loaf, she turns 7 this year. When she turns 7, after the school year, she gets her very first puppy, and that puppy is coming tonight. So I'll be sharing that with you maybe tonight or maybe tomorrow. The neighbor had a litter of 13, I believe, and 12 of them survived. The best type of dog, just a general purpose mutt farm dog. Those are always the best ones, and we're looking forward to that. It's a big deal bringing an animal into your life like that. You have them around for so long, but she is beyond excited, so look forward to that. I think it should be leaking already if it's going to. I'm guessing we got it sorted. So let me show you one last thing, how to tell and make sure that your hydrant is draining properly by using a little water vacuum suction trick here. To verify your hydrant is draining, you turn the water on. Fill up a glass. And then shut it off and hold it right here. Now if it draws water, see how nature abhors a vacuum, so when there's low pressure in the bottom, when that water is draining, whoops, goodness, when it's draining out, it'll pull it until it sucks air. But see how quickly that went down? I guess maybe the Gusti's and the Gustavus's logo there in the way. Now the fact that that goes down so quickly means that's got a good weep hole. It's probably got gravel around it, so it drains quickly. And so we know that this will be dry in just a matter of minutes, and we don't have to worry about freezing anymore. Well, gentlemen, that is about all there is to it. That's the first time I've ever done it. It was actually quite simple. It was actually easier than I was expecting. If you have these yard hydrants, it would not be a bad idea to grab one of these kits to have all those repair parts. Make sure you get it. Check the brand, it should be in the casting on the side, and they're not very expensive. I'll put links to this and my favorite Knipex Cobras. That's something you should have in your toolbox. So until next time, may God bless you and your families. Please keep us in your prayers, and we'll see you guys on the next one.